Salam alaikum wa sabah al khair. Afar friends, welcome to my lecture. I want to introduce my work, my organization, and my staff. This, for instance, come up is my son. He is a top organizer. Ali Mekla, your brother, my local manager in Ethiopia, and another one is outside. We are 4 persons managing what I want to tell you. If you later have any question, please speak to them. I hear very bad. I have to explain my life. How did it happen that we just helped the Afar people? And this came like that. My original profession is baker. I ran a baker shop in Hamburg, Germany. We had 50 employees. It was economical, okay, but I didn't find satisfaction. Satisfaction I found when traveling with bicycle around the world and many other things. And on these journeys, once in Brazil, I met the people similar to the Afar people, native people in the jungle, and they were invaded by gold diggers and by tree cutters. It's here in North Brazil, on the border to Venezuela, and they had no chance to fight against these gold diggers. And when I became a witness of this problem, I decided to help them. And I went there. You see, they are living in a very old-fashioned way. They had no iron, they had no cloth, and were invaded by 65,000 gold diggers who stole their wood, who dug in the ground and stole the gold, and the government tolerated it. They did not really help them, although it's law to help them. In their original country, nobody has to dig for anything. They burned their villages, they killed everybody who was against it, and women still alive were forced to come to the land strips. There were 120 landing strips for the illegal airplanes, and they came as beggars in their own country to ask for food from the rubbish. So I made many demonstrations. I went to the World Bank, I wrote books, I made TV films, and I made demonstrations like this with a massive tree, not a boat, a tree, 18 meters, and a big sail, and written on it in Portuguese language, 500 years Brazil, thousands of years indigenous cultures, and milliards of years Amazonic rainforests. Time to act, protect the indigenous people, respect their land rights, and protect the rainforest. And this was very interesting for the media. I had a lot of films here. My trip ended, I crossed with it the Atlantic from Africa to Brazil, and the trip ended in front of the government of the state's president's house. And after 20 years, the Indians got their peace. The gold diggers were taken out. And finally, because I like these people, we built a hospital for them, because when they come out of the forest to the Brazilian doctors, they are infected by cough, by many things. Even a cough is enough to kill them. And then one of my trips, 1977, I crossed the Dankalia Desert from south to north, together with 2 friends, and protected by a clan chief. He gave us 2, sometimes 4 guides to lead us through the country. It was a trip of 4 months. It was very interesting. It was the time of the Derg, when Afar and Eritrea and Ethiopia fought against each other. And we passed all these fronts, sometimes during the nights. Maybe you know these landscapes. Since this time, from the hospitality of the Afars, I like these people. Sometimes happens things like this. The leading camel broke into the swamps of the salt lakes. We tried to dig it out, and we needed 4 hours to dig it out. And when it really stood again on its feet, we jumped up to the sky, because without the camels we could not continue our trip. A special food as a reward, and even the camels were happy to be together again and celebrated it in camel manner by loving each other. When we reached the villages, the burras, we have to wait until the people in the village and the burras saw us, and when they saw that they know our guides, brothers, relatives from them, then we were welcome. Without the guide, it was impossible to pass the country. And these 2 men, twice we were attacked by bandits, and they protected us with their bodies as living shields, and said to the attackers, "These are my guests. When you want to kill them, you have to shoot through us, but then you will feel our blood revenge." I never found any comparable in other cultures, and since this time I love the Afar people. We prayed together, and I learned in young years that you cannot reduce Islam to terror. The Christians also don't want to be reduced on their terror. The Cruz wars against Islam, the killing of Indian people in America, and many, many things like that. They want to be reduced on their social engagement and not to the criminal acts. And then, during this trip, it happened that we met a young woman. I think the picture will come. Came to North. We had to cross the border to Eritrea, and our Afar friends went asking the Eritrean Liberation Front to give us a free passage. And then these 3 soldiers came, took us along through their country, and we saw the revolution from behind, how they transport ammunition and so on. We were present when they reconquered one of their villages, conquered by the Derg, and they reconquered it. When somebody came out with a rifle, he was killed. If they came out hand up, they were captive. Well, and then during this trip in Eritrea, we met Aisha, this young Afar woman. She came from Ethiopia, and she was mutilated in the pharaonic way, completely cut off everything, closed. And when her parents wanted to marry her with a man whom she did not like at all, she escaped from Ethiopia to Eritrea. There I met her, and it was the first time that I heard about female genital mutilation. And after the Indians in America found peace, I remembered this moment and said, my next project will be stopping female genital mutilation. And when I heard that daily 6,000 girls are mutilated worldwide, and 90% of them Muslims, I thought, how can the Islam allow this beside all this terrorism? And the idea was born, we must find the highest Muslims of the world to stop it by the ethics of Islam. Everybody in Germany said, you are crazy, he will kill you and cut your throat. I knew the Islam from the positive side and founded together with my wife my own organization. We called it Target. Target for fighting if possible, but Target also if you want in a diplomatic way to reach your goal, your target. The very first fighter on our side was your Sultan Ali Mira Hanfari. I told him from the idea, he said, very good, because my daughters are also mutilated, stop it. And our idea was, we have to go in the desert and film and take photos from that crime, because if you speak to the highest muftis and they will say, it's not so bad, I'm circumcised too, and they compare male circumcision with female genital mutilation, and this is not comparable. He allowed us to go to the desert, and my wife, Annette, she secretly with a hidden camera tried to film and to take photos. And I was responsible for the men. They are those who make the laws. I wanted information. Are they ready to change their mind, or will they always again in the future also mutilate their daughters? We became very often witnesses of this crime, also among Christians in Addis Ababa. But because we are specialized on Islam only, we concentrated on the Afar, on Islam. This girl lost its language by shock after being mutilated. And you know it better than me, when they get married, the man has to open them, and it is a terrible act. And Alimira, when he saw our pictures, he was really shocked. He said, this was done to my daughters. I thought, it's a little scratch. Yeah, Alimira, not a scratch. And he allowed us, together with the Minister of Youth, of Health and so on, a conference for the Afar in Asaida. I introduced myself, told them why a stranger, comes to tell these people to change their tradition. I remembered them what their fathers did to me when they saved me my life. And then I said, I heard what you are doing to your daughters. You say it's written in the Quran, and I know it's not written in the Quran. Of course, they didn't believe me, I am a stranger. But when the sheikhs, for instance, Darasa Musa and the others, maybe you know them, when they confirmed that it's not written in the Quran, the people began to change their mind. And they said, in the Quran, you can read exactly the opposite. Verily, we, Allah, created humans in the best shape. It's written in the Quran, Surah 95:4. And when people heard this, even a woman took the microphone, told about the fate of their daughters. She said, my daughter, after being mutilated, could never again walk. She crept in the sand until she didn't know. I'm angry. Until the pain was so bad that she killed herself with a machine gun of her father. And after such discussions, after 2 days, they decided to stop it. No voice against it. Everybody said, we have to stop it. It's a crime. one of the sheikhs signed the new law, and they promised to do their very best to stop it. Of course, a tradition for 5,000 years old can't be stopped in a week, but I think it will come to an end. There was a great celebration, a fest, they were singing and dancing. Ali Mira, my great friend, the first member of my pro-Islamic alliance against mutilation, signed it too. Unfortunately, meanwhile, he died. The same effect we reached in Mauritania, big country, West Africa. The Grand Mufti, the highest man, saw the pictures, signed the law. He said, it's against Islam. And then, after having signed the new law, he said, how can this good message reach the Bedouins, the nomads in the desert? Would you be able to write my new law on flags and take it to the oasis? We made 100 flags with the message, and many weeks we went from oasis to oasis and telling the people what their Mufti decided. And wherever we came, always friendship, no aggressive mayor or people. They were open to listen to the new message. And then, when we left Mauritania, the Mufti of Mauritania said, yeah, Rudi, now you saw how hard it is, how long you need to reach every country, every tribe. You will not be able to reach all the world. 35 countries are mutilating, and Allah will not give you so much time that you reach all these people by walking. And he is right, I'm 80 years old and my time is short. I'm in a hurry. And then he had a good idea. He said, go to Al-Azhar in Cairo, and when you succeed in making a conference with the 10 highest Muslims of the world, and when they will say it is a sin to mutilate women, then it is a sin. And really, we got a personal interview with the Grand Sheikh Al-Azhar, his name Mohammed Tantawi. I introduced the idea of the conference. He said, very good, but I'm the wrong man. I said, you are the highest, say yes or no. He said, no, for religious rights, you have to speak to the Mufti. I said, how, me as a baker, how can I speak to the Grand Mufti of Egypt? He said, no problem. I have a mobile. And he called him. Half an hour later, I also got this dialogue with the Grand Mufti, his name Ali Goma. He was immediately on our side. He said, when you pay the conference, it will succeed, and I will overtake the patronship. And then, in now about 10 years back, over Cairo, you saw our transparencies, the International Conference for Preventing the Violation of Women's Bodies, sponsored by the Grand Mufti of Egypt, Sheikh Professor Dr. Ali Joma. And then they came, our guest, the highest of the world, the Grand Sheikh, Yusuf al-Qaradawi, the Sheikh of Qatar. You will know him, who made the problems with caricatures in Denmark, not allowed to come to Europe. The Minister of Religion, our patron, special police, because they were afraid that there could happen any accident, and many other delegates from other African countries. Me as a host, I had to greet them. Everybody got a little present, praline, and then we started the conference under our transparency. on the presidency table from left, Grand Mufti, Grand Sheikh, Minister of Religion, Special Ambassador from Madame Mubarak, and Grand Baker Rudi from Germany. And then the conference started, and everybody told his view. The most interesting speech was held by Yusuf al-Qaradawi, and even he, more than 80 years old, changed his mind. He forbid it. He said every Muslim is forced to teach it, his family, in the schools, in the kindergarten, to everybody, stop this crime. And he apologized in the internet that he didn't change his mind before. He said Target gave him the necessary photos, and then he feels himself forced to stop it. We had some medical doctors to explain it from the medical side, and then, surprise, Sheikh Darassa from the Afar came and brought a letter from Ali Mira. He said, you are the very first honorary citizens of the Afar people. It was a very great moment in our lives. Finally, they decided to stop it, to declare it a sin against God, Allah, and against the girls and the women. And the Grand Mufti Ali Goma told the fatwa into the cameras. The most important sentence in the fatwa was this: female genital mutilation is a punishable crime that offends highest values of Islam. He signs the fatwa, he put it on his homepage in the presence of other African delegates, and we thought now this problem came to an end, but it didn't. The people are too shy to speak about this problem, and then we started another project. We wrote the so-called Golden Book. It is the documentation of this conference in some languages, and it is thought as to help imams when they preach to speak about this female genital mutilation. Ali Goma found the book so good that he honored it with a preface. And we made conferences here in Addis Ababa with representatives of Djibouti, of Sudan, of Ethiopia, and so on, East Africa, Somaliland, and introduced the book. And they read it with great interest. Some of them, like Sheikh Darassa Musa, he even goes to schools, to universities, to the marketplaces, and reads from the book. A great success, but the most of the imams are afraid, and they need more power from their chiefs, from Al-Azhar and others, to encourage them to stop this. A little conference in Tajura, Djibouti, and here one of the imams reading from our book, and by loudspeakers it goes over, his speech goes over the villages, over the cities, and the women listen, speak among them, and I hope it will spread all over the world. And after this, yeah. And then we started a mobile hospital in the other country, and there our doctor saw all these consequences, what women have to suffer after being mutilated or opened again. And therefore we started now a second project. Besides this mobile project, we started to build a maternity clinic where we can help especially the woman, as you said, peace and economic development, it is a hard work because it's full of stones. We have no machines, and it is very hard to find good companies who give us a very good work. And so my son and my helpers, my managers, they had to go there to help, to instruct the people, and wherever we could, we accepted other people to help us. The street was made because we also want to operate women with a cesarean cut if necessary. It shall become a high European standard. It is like a diamond in the desert. We planted some trees, and maybe another half a year it could be ready. 10 buildings, one better than the other, but our problem is they need toilets, they need a kitchen, they need rooms to sleep because we don't find doctors among the other people. But meanwhile it is nearly perfect and ready. Our garden, we have our own vegetable and fruits. It is really like a paradise. And this is, for instance, the doctor's house. I think the Afar can be proud when this is ready, and we need any support. If you have an idea how you could help us, please do it. Speak to both my managers. The third one is behind at the door. And this is the total project. It's very near to Konaba in the north of your country. And these are my two managers, my top managers, my son and my top manager in the German office, and again Ali Mira, the local manager. And this, my dear friends, was my lecture. I hope when I die that I will realize that this little girl will not have to mutilate her daughter. And this is my dream. Thank you. Sorry for my tears.
Herr Nehberg, danke vielmals für Ihre hervorragende Arbeit, dass Sie für unser Volk geleistet haben. Haben wir auf unser Bild gesehen und wir danken Ihnen vielmals, ihr und Ihre Familie und die ganzen Leute, dass Sie mit Ihnen arbeiten.
Thank you.
First of all, we would like to thank Mr. Nehberg for all the work he does for the Afar people. We heard about him a lot. We tried several times to bring him here. We finally accepted our invitation. He came. He was very busy, but we wanted to bring him because one person, one individual can make a difference. You can see one person can do a lot of work. And so all of us as a person can do a lot of change also for our people. Yeah. One person. And we have to say thank you very much for the work you do. We really appreciate that because we know Ali Malka is there. You know, we hear every time what the work she do. Ali also really. Can all of you here, please? And you know, a lot of NGOs. Who go to Addis and live in this lavish, villas for $10,000, $20,000. That's not what they did. They went to the city where the Afars, where the source are, and they live and they sleep with them, and that's the way they help people. And that's the right way. What we've been asking, from these NGOs, not go to Addis, sit, in a big villas, and drink the whole night, and then in the morning you don't do nothing for the people. So, but these people employ the locals, help the locals, synthesize the locals, and you see the work they did for us changing the mind and then the work. And we thank you very much for that.
Hello, hello. One thing I'd like to say is we are a non-government organization. We are only a private organization. We are a non-government organization, and we don't get money from governments. We are only private. There are some kids in school spending some money. There are companies in Germany who are spending money. And we have some flyers. We hope to get some more contacts here. And thank you so much.